So what have I been playing? I've been playing a very critically nominated game called Firewatch, developed by Campo Santa Studios, which I remember this in 2016 when it released, and people said this was the future of all storytelling in video games, and it was leaving on Game Pass this month. So I played it now, finally, for the first time. So what do I think? All right, so this is important because that's why you're watching the video, okay? So Firewatch is a game in which follows a character called Henry, and we get a backstory of his life, and it's kind of tragic. It's about how he has a nice, fulfilling life with his wife, and you kind of pick some choices and such. And it's, and it's about, it gives you prompts like, hey, you walk your dog, such and such. You're both too scared to have kids because it might ruin your careers and paths in life. And then tragedy strikes. Turns out your wife gets dementia. So in order to run away from the problem and to forget the pain, while she's in a hospital, Henry takes a job over the summer as a fire watcher to stomp out fires in Yosemite National Park. And I think this is like the 70s or 80s or whatever. Now, narrative-wise, it's great. Basically, you go around and you stomp out fires, yada, 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 etc., etc., etc. But the gameplay is a walking sim. Now, for those who don't know what a walking sim is, it's basically an insult, but it kind of is a very good catch-all term for a genre in which the only gameplay you can do is walk from one place to another. There's no other extra gameplay, and this is basically the same thing. It's just there's a circular path in the forest, and you just keep walking down the same path over and over and over and over again, while someone, and it's part of the story, Delilah, who is your boss, tells you, hey, you need to stomp out that fire, hey, you need to examine this cut wire. So gameplay is basically non-existent. So the narrative really needs to hold up. And boy, does it, because at the halfway point of the game, you realize someone's been listening to every conversation you've had with your boss and is now actively stalking you and later turns into blackmailing you for potential crimes you did. And it gets pretty suspenseful because it's this idea of like you're trapped in a national park alone with a psychopath, all right? You live in a Firewatch tower, okay? There's no lock in that tower. Anyone can go in and like get you while you're sleeping, right? It's absolutely a terrifying feeling, and it's a great mystery too. My one issue, and I won't go into too much detail, is that there's no climax. So once you've identified who the stalker is, you can't find him because you're in a forest. Idiot. But on the last day, there's like the largest fire in the whole entire park, yada, 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 etc., 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 blah, 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 blah. So what do? Well, you don't put out the fire, you just kind of run away, and as you're running away, you find like a videotape of which the guy who's stalking you, blackmailing you, and potentially trying to kill you, basically said, I got spooked when you found out who I was, but I'm going deeper in the forest, sorry, bye, leave me alone. And then you just go on a helicopter and leave, and that's the end of the game. Like, everything was like an 8 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 until the last 10 minutes of the game, in which it goes, my bad, it's just a prank, bro, and then he leaves. And when you have a walking sim, the only thing you have is a narrative and immersion, and once that's broken, once you just fail at any singular point, it just ruins the whole experience. It's still solid, it's still worth the play, but my God, does that anticlimactic bit at the end just ruin it, all right? I'm feeling like giving a Firewatch a 6 out of 10. I highly recommend playing it just once when it's like, on sale.